I think it's just going to get weirder and weirder and weirder, and finally it's going to be so weird that people are going to have to talk about how weird it is.
Welcome back to Forbidden Knowledge News. I'm your host, Chris Matthew. Today my guest is Ole Dammegard. I've got great upcoming guests: Eve Thunder Howard, James Corbett, Brendan Murphy, and Dedunking Dan. Be on the lookout for those. Check out my films. Occult Louisiana is on Tubi. Doors of Perception is on Amazon Prime. We're booking guests for June. If you have suggestions or you'd like to be a guest, email me forbiddenknowledgenews@gmail.com. Today I want to welcome back to the show Ole Dammegard. He is an author, international speaker, former journalist, musician, artist, and investigator. Ole, welcome back. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Chris. How are you?
I am excellent. It is great to have you back. What a time to be alive. We're witnessing some of the most all-encompassing psychological warfare and propaganda that I've ever seen. And so much has happened in the few months since we last spoke. I was expecting to come on here and once again decode some of the high-impact events, but you and I were having a conversation before, and your work has taken a little bit of a turn from the usual. We were discussing how AI has basically affected the ability to effectively decode and diagnose some of these events and pick apart some of the reality, because it's almost impossible to see what reality is based on the false AI nonsense slop that we're being served every day. So we're going to try and offer some solutions. We're going to try and look at some new possibilities as to what we could be focusing on instead of the nonsense, because that is all we're getting from our social media, from our news, from our entertainment, from everything that we're being served on the screens. We've entered a time period where it's impossible to tell what's real and what isn't. Before we get into this, for those that may not be familiar, remind us a little bit about yourself and let them know how they can find out more.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So I've been some 45 years down this rabbit hole, and I have just tried to find out what the heck is going on because I'm confused. I was born confused, and it just has gone to different levels of confusion. But at the same time, also, I'm in love with the truth, even though it's sometimes painful to see and receive. The truth is still the way, and the truth is so beautiful, clean, needs no energy to, it just is. Whereas if you make so-called conspiracies, which is like a very natural phenomena, to bring a conspiracy forward, you have to cover it up, literally cover it up. And then the cover-ups needs cover-ups and more cover-ups and then more cover-ups. And it's extremely energy consuming just to push it forward. I mean, look at this mountain of absolute bullshit around JFK and Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King and so on, 9/11. It's just like massive piles of shite that needs to be pushed forward all the time. Whereas the truth, it just stands like the Silver Surfer, just beautiful, shiny. To find it, though, is sometimes really, really difficult. But it's also people, I think they're looking for the truth, not understanding that it's covered up. So they actually need to find the cover to then be able to see, there's a cover over there. What is it covering? And then so to become able to identify covers, meaning bullshit. I mean, it's like a lie detector thing. Because the truth, there's no need for lies. There's no need to defend itself. There's no need to argue. It just is. What happened? Boom. That was it. That was it. It's not more complicated than that. Something happened. Then the question is why in many areas has been covered up. So what I've since I've a few years ago found out that my family was actually living a double life my whole life without me knowing it. My parents was part of creating the Danish version of Gladio, which in after the Second World War was a good thing. You know, it was a defense mechanism, incredibly clever ghost army that all NATO countries had to mandatory build, but super, super secret. And my parents were apparently part of that. I had no idea to the day they died. It's only a few years ago. I mean, my dad died in 1992, and it was in 2019 that he came to me in a dream and gave me some key words that then completely turned my life upside down in a very emotional, quite traumatic journey into seeing how deceived I was from day one. I mean, I, of all people, should have seen it, but I didn't. It was like hidden right in plain sight in my face. So I think it's also a bit, it's almost like God, whoever you want to believe in, has a sense of humor because, like, the thing that I have devoted so many years of my life to expose are the exact same forces that my parents were part of building up. Them believing they were doing a good thing. I'm now believing I'm doing a good thing here. God knows, maybe my children will have to sort out the pile of whatever I'm part of creating, you know, because like the so-called evil ones see me as evil. It's
Mm.
the you know duality which I find interesting because I've been speaking directly to former Illuminatis and former people in the U.S. military and so on, psychological warfare operations, where they believed that they were doing the right thing, trying to take me out. And I mean, I can't blame them because I was doing everything I could to stop them. So it's like this, who am I to judge? But at the same time, I've been given this meat suit. I've been given this understanding of what reality is. I still have no idea really. But yeah, long story short. But over the years, I really, as a one-man band, have done everything I can to uncover the truth as far as I can see in specific areas, especially around top political assassinations and so-called false flag operations, because these are the tools they have to manipulate our minds and push populations into a certain direction, into more and more control, more and more surveillance, more and more nightmare, if you ask me. I love
Mhm.
freedom and I want everybody to have complete freedom ruled by the heart, not by some asshole that is sitting up there making a lot of rules that benefit them, not us. So over the years, I've been interviewed more than 1,400 times, whatever, all over the world. I've been touring on my own, you know, like a one-man band. Shit scary at times, I tell you that. But I've been to, I think, 16 countries and yeah, I've really, really, really tried. But also, like I said before, we got on air that it's almost like when I look back, I almost see myself as a start engine, where you got like, let's say, a big, you're in the States, no, you're in Canada. Yeah, but I mean, you know, big block V8s or whatever, to pull an engine like that around, so powerful engine once it runs, but before it is heavy as it's so incredibly heavy to just pull it around. That's the job of the start engine that just pulls it around, round, round. And the only energy that can make that possible is through the battery. But the battery, if the engine doesn't start, the battery runs out, and then you got a dead vehicle. So for me, has been like a real balance trying to keep my own battery charged, even though it seemed impossible to get the engine running. And then about a year or so ago, it just felt like suddenly the engine started. I don't know what, it was just like a completely shift inside of me. I don't know what it was that just like let go. And so because also if the start engine keeps engaged when the engine runs, it burns out right very fast. It
Mhm.
just burns out because that's not what it's made for. It cannot take these the same. So I think what made me not deliberately take a step back, it was more like an understanding that I can't trust anything I'm being served through these screens in front of me. Because when AI entered with all of these apps and TikTok. I mean, so-called simple things where you swap faces and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, holy crap. Because when you see in the old days, like these different agencies and military, especially the US, has access to whatever technology we are being presented like 50 years ahead
Yeah.
of us, always. So what we are
Yeah.
like now saying, oh my God, oh, have you seen that? It 50 years ago, they were playing around, at least 50 years ago,
Mm.
they were playing around with these things. So now when we have I mean, I have no clue what's going on in Iran, in Israel, in Sweden, in the US. I just have information being served through the screen in front of me, which is digital. And then whoever controls the digital information outlet and controls the internet has me by the balls, can
Mm.
completely. So I mean, one example, like if you go to the CBS News on YouTube, you go down and you check who's got the copyright for videos. It's a company called, it's not Verizon, it's I can't remember the name of it. There's only a name, there's no link, you can't click on it. So you have to look for the company like that. That's CBS News, okay? And then you go to that exact website and it's AI automated news feeds. I'm like,
Mm.
what?
Wow.
What? And then you see this, of course, the logo of CBS is like the one eye, but it's like, does that mean that AI automated news feeds? I mean, if the technology now that we're being presented, I mean, take like we have this Swedish family that I believe is above the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds in the deep state called Wallenberg. They, through their company Ericsson, controls a massive part of the internet. But I have from insiders around that family that they plan 100 years ahead. Okay, so can you imagine? I mean, I have problems planning 2 weeks ahead.
Mm.
Then imagine with the technology they have, with the finances they have, with the control of the internet, because we're talking about it's their services that NSA and CIA and Mossad and are subscribing to.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see this? It's like it's unbelievable the power that they have access to. So if they plan 100 years ahead, if that's where they are, what does that even mean with the way that technology is developing at the moment? Did you notice that AI was nowhere to find, and then suddenly it was just everywhere?
Yeah.
All of these different companies were doing their own. Do you really think that everybody was sort of like suddenly everybody just came to this insight, or is it part of an agenda? Okay, step two, release, boom, and then step three, like different steps of a rocket. And
Yeah.
so as long as they agree that there is a war in Iran, then there is a war in Iran.
Mm.
Look at Wag the Dog, that movie, Wag the Dog,
Yeah.
super, super important film. And how to deceive a population. Nowadays, we're talking about deceiving maybe a global population into believing a certain thing. So, yeah, I just
Well,
came
let
to,
me ask you, with the mass confusion and chaos that we're experiencing, your average person has no idea what's really happening across the planet in Iran. No one really does, because it's almost impossible to tell, as you were just saying. But the state of the truth community and conspiracy culture seems to have been infiltrated and manipulated to a point where it is being weaponized and used against itself right now. But it makes me wonder, was this the plan the whole time? Was the conspiracy movement started because they wanted this to be the result, mass confusion where no one knows what the truth is anymore, and it's build your own adventure for most people? They can live whatever truth they want nowadays.
I think that you got like a natural movement of people starving for the truth
Yeah.
because truth is healing. I feel that the truth shall set you free. So there's a natural urge in many of us searching for the truth in different areas. And then once we start making a move towards it, when it really starts making a change and creating difficulties for the dark forces, if whatever we're gonna call them, that's when they, through history, have started creating controlled opposition, where they know that we need heroes. The thing with heroes is that if there is a hero that will take responsibility, Clark Kent steps up and takes off the glasses, and suddenly Superman is there. We don't have to do it because Superman, is it a plane? Is it a bird? No, it's Superman will deal with it, and I can sit back, have another slice of pizza, and keep
Mm-hmm.
my life in the couch with the remote. And so I'm eliminated as a threat, a future threat, because Superman is there. So this is where so-called control opposition is to create these front figures that are controlled by them. So, and in the truth community, I mean, I've never been part of it at all. I don't even know what it means. I'm not part of any organizations. I'm not part of any groups. I'm not part of anything, because very early on I saw, whoa, as soon as we start making a difference for the better, it gets infiltrated, or people's egos. I don't understand the size of people's egos. I mean, I'm pointing at myself as well. Be aware, because the ego has this incredible way of it's my way or the highway. And I don't understand, like around JFK or 9/11 or whatever, why don't we just learn from each other and say, listen, what can you bring to the table? What can I bring to
Mm.
the table? Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. Let's see, can we make these? But instead, it's like, no, I am right, and the rest of you can just piss off. It doesn't make any sense to me, because for me, it's not important for me to be right. It's for me important to be free. To just prove a point. What is it? Or to have, I have a theory. Who cares? Who cares? I speculate. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Yeah, the moon is made of a green cheese. Okay, I don't know. I haven't been there. Or it's a hollow, or it's the center of the. I don't know. Tell me more. I would be in one area because it's so big. This whole thing is so big. The areas of lies and deception. So please, somebody focus on UFOs. Other people focus on chemtrails. I focus on my part, and then if we learn together, we will see that actually it all, as far as I know, leads back to the same thing. It leads back to the same octopus. I love octopuses, but it's actually, I don't want to point at an octopus, but it's a very symbolic way with the tentacles of it's one power trying to control so many different areas of life now. It has worked so hard for so many decades and years through psychopaths and sociopaths that don't care. They just walk across us. They don't have empathy, and they just push themselves into these power positions where they have now taken over. So, but they're very few. That's the good news. They're in very powerful situations. Bad news, they're very few. Good news. And they come from the same. They come from the same, which is great. So instead of you having a body that is completely infected with cancer, whatever cancer is, you got one major growth, and then you got metastases, or whatever you call it in English. You got these things, but you need to go to the root element of it all. And if you look at a cancer, which I find is really interesting, is that more or less, as far as I know, no cancer has ever grown without there being a vaccine to start with. I
Mm.
don't know anyone who's ever had cancer that was not vaccinated at one point or other. That's one part.
Mm. Interesting.
Yeah, myself included, unfortunately, but not the last 20, 30 years. But before then, I was pumped with all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But also, as far as I know, with cancer, the cancer is always there in your body. It's natural, but it's like when you have an emotional impact, very hard impact in your life, like a divorce or the death of a child or an accident or you lose your job or whatever it is, like something that pow hits you like that. That's where your system weakens enough for this whatever cancer is to start
Mm.
growing in you. And then, unfortunately for us, the way the Western medicine is that it will come to a point where your cancer is diagnosed. You have cancer. For one thing, that for most people equals like a death sentence. So that hits you a second time. And then with chemo, radiation, and these different modern multi-billion, trillion-dollar industries that were there to not keep you healthy, but the other way around, then that would be the third step of this rocket that just hits you and hits you and hits you instead of going the natural way. But to really cure yourself, you need to go to the root thing, the trauma that started the whole thing. If you don't deal with that, it will just appear again.
Mhm.
So so to become aware, and it's the same with this situation, we need to go to the root cause, not look at the tentacles. Go to the root, the root, the root, the root.
I wonder if we would ever see a day where we can take care of that root cause, these parasitic ruling class that we have. It seems that we have one more reason to be demoralized and disappointed at the lack of justice that we've seen. We've recently got hold of the Epstein files, all the evidence that we could ever need to at least begin investigations into some of these horrible monsters, but yet that still isn't happening. When are we just going to realize that at no point are the judge, jury, and executioner going to take accountability for the crimes against humanity that they've been committing and stop hoping for some kind of, like you said, savior figure to step in and come in and arrest these people? It's not going to happen. We have to take accountability for ourselves at some point.
The one you've been waiting for is you.
Mm.
It's like that's anybody who goes to court. I'm the wrong person to ask, but since I don't know the court system, but I know that they're by now completely rigged against you. The whole system is rigged against us. So to even, I've never taken anything to court. I've never gone to any, official investigation or commissions or tried to do anything with, because I know we're set up. We're being set up here. So that's a waste of life. The thing is to take the power back, whatever that means. But I believe the more you understand and can see through the illusion, the more powerful you become. And also the more powerful your no becomes. It doesn't have to be a violent no in no way. It's just that thank you so much, but I am so not going to do whatever it is you're offering me or trying to push me to do. I am not moving at all. I am not moving because I know in my heart that's wrong. That is wrong. I know what is right and wrong in my heart. So I think the more of us that starts following and living by the heart, the better off we are. And it's like in Raj Yoga, which is the science of the mind, which is a 5,000-year-old philosophy, they say disregard the wicked. Disregard the wicked. That doesn't mean, well, I'm still learning how to understand that. But what I know is that psychos and sociopaths and super manipulators, they need us to engage. If we just take a step back, they're powerless. If they cannot manipulate us, if we just say thank you, but no thank you, they lose the power. It's when we start reacting, when we start going into fear mode, and then they can control us, then they can play with us, then they can completely manipulate us. If we take a step back, I'm not saying accept their what they're doing, their actions. Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying stop being played with. Stop letting them manipulate you. Take a step back. It's problem reaction solution. That's one of the major ones that they play us with. They have a solution in whatever the solution, whatever that is, like a bio mass weapon of mass destruction, a bioweapon like the vaccines or whatever it is, like they have that from day one. But how to get us to take it? They need to create a problem to get the reaction from us. The problem needs to be big enough so that will justify the solution. And the thing they want from us is the reaction of fear, like, oh my God, save us, and then we will accept it. So they got very, very few methods against us. These are the things that I really devoted so many years trying to, or not trying to, but showing as clear as I can. Look out for that one. Look out for that one. Because once you see it, then you can say when the next problem happens, instead of going, oh my God, and accept the solution, you can say, instead of, oh my God, you can just take one step back and say, before I react, I'm going to take a step back, just breathe, go for a walk, hug a cat, hug my girlfriend, breathe, look at a bird, look at a flower, whatever makes you comfortable, hug a tree, hug a cup, whatever. And then take a step back and say, okay, I'm calm now. Let me look again and wait for the solution. See for it, because nowadays it's problem, reaction, problem. They wait for our reaction and then they serve the solution right away. So you can see once you do that, like mainstream news becomes really interesting because like you just take a step back. Okay, what is it they're trying to do? Okay, boom. And the solution is wait for it, wait for it. Oh, microchipping. Oh, so
Hmm.
microchipping is a protection against mass shootings. I did not know that, but that's good to know. You know, so you see what they're trying to do. But if you take a step back and you just say, whoa, I'm not going to engage. I'm just going to observe. Then you see it, okay, I'm calling bullshit here. I'm so not going to do whatever they want. And many times the things that they're trying to ban, look into it because that can be really, really good stuff for you. Anything they say is good, watch out. Everything they say is bad, check it out.
Mm.
We're in an inversed reality. They have inversed our reality, turned it upside down. Black is white, white is black. We're behind the mirror. This is also the worlds of the CIA, the Mossad, and other agencies that are not separate. They are one at the top, or it's actually at the bottom. They are connected there, but there's this, then on a street level, they look like they're separated.
It's difficult to imagine living sovereign lives. We've always been under the thumb of the ruling class. The collective solutions offered by them will never work. We have to work on an individual basis to fix things in our own lives. And I think that's the only thing that essentially we can control. But eventually, we're going to have to, as much as possible, exit from the system as we currently know it and build parallel systems. But I'm wondering, is that going to even be possible without those being attacked and destroyed and eventually co-opted just like everything else already is? What do you think the solution is, even on that individual basis, to try and exit as much as possible? How can we do that effectively without it being re-infiltrated?
You tell me. I have no idea. It's
Yeah.
like, no, but it's like you say, how can we get to Mount Everest, the top of Mount Everest? And I say, one step at a time. I don't know. And then on this journey, things will happen. And I have no idea until I get there. The weather might change. I might fall down. I have no idea. It's like one step, one step, one step. Enjoy the process
Mm.
and stop whining. I talk to myself included. Stop whining, start shining. You know, the thing is, if you stop seeing yourself as a victim and you turn it around and you start seeing, okay, so I'm in this situation. I've been dealt these cards. Maybe I was part of deciding what cards I would be dealt. I don't know, but I'm in this game now. So stop whining, start shining. What can I do with it? You know, it's like you see these incredible examples of people losing a leg or an arm or whatever, you know, and the rest of us are complaining because we got a slight headache or a man flu or whatever. You know, people can turn situations around and start. I've seen people play electric guitar like Jimi Hendrix with no arms. It's like, oh
Hmm.
my God, that is incredible. What can I do with the situation I'm in if I stop seeing myself as a victim, if I stop pointing at them and saying, "Oh, you horrible elite, you are doing all of these things and you don't." I agree, they are. But it's also thanks to them that people are waking up because apparently we're so thick that it's taken this type of extreme evil and violence for us to start saying, "Oh my God, this is not okay." Like I said before, it's 45 years of my life when I've been standing like, hello, hello, hello. And then people come now and say to me, yeah, I remember back in the old days, 9/11, I woke up, you know. It took 9/11 for you to wake up to that something was wrong. 9/11, or most people are like in COVID, they first, because it started becoming it was too close at home. It suddenly affected them, their own lives. They couldn't sort of neglect and just say, no, it's their problem. I don't care. I'm in my life. Everything is good here. So fuck the rest. I don't care. That's where most people have been. Suddenly, when COVID came, it came into your house, into your home, so you couldn't avoid it anymore. So is that something to brag about that you were so selfish up until then that you couldn't care? And then now, because somebody put a flamethrower under your butt, well, I woke up. Well, thank you. So what I'm saying with that is like, don't point at other people now and say, they are asleep and I am awake. Where were you in 1982? If that even rhymed. No, but you know, like we're all in different processes. We're on different paths. We're on different journeys, whatever it is. Focus on yourself. I'm not saying selfish. I'm saying evolve yourself and start living by the heart in as many situations, actions as you can. If you start doing beautiful stuff, selfless service, in more and more and more of your actions, in your words, in your actions, in your community, with your neighbors, in wherever it is, and also with your enemies. The more you can not engage in their game of hatred and violence. Do you know, there was an Iranian short film that I found really, really powerful, and you can't find it on the internet now or anything like that. But it was about there was two warriors. I want to say that also that the director, when he made that, the Iranian director, he had then to go in exile because he was just being threatened and all kinds. So powerful for the people in so-called power. They did not want that out there. But anyway, so it's about two Genghis Khan warriors back in the old days, and they're coming riding in the desert, and they have swords and bows and they're covered in blood. And so they're coming on two horses and they come to this little oasis with water. So they jump off the horses and they're washing off the blood and they're sitting like comparing like, did you see when I smashed the head of that baby and ha 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 ha, and did you see when I chopped the head of that, when I raped this one, and ha ha ha, the power game.
Hmm.
And so they're really taken in by themselves, you know, because they're bad boys, they're violent, they're powerful, all of it. And then they notice there's this monk sitting by this well, you know, under a palm tree meditating. He's not moving, he's not saying, he's not impressed by them either because he's not even looking. So they think, oh, come on, let's go over and have some fun with him. So they walk over. Please look at the symbolism of this whole thing. So they walk over to him and they say, whoa, what are you doing? And they kick him and whatever. He doesn't react. He's being kicked. He doesn't react, whatever. So they start spitting at him. Come on, Jonah. They're slapping him in the face. He's not reacting. And they're like, what the heck? don't you see who we are? And so one of them pulls his sword and said, with this one, I can just chop your head off, you know, and I can do this and I can do that. He doesn't react at all. And they're like, what's going on here? Don't you see how powerful we are? Don't you see how, you should be shitting yourself what's going on here? And so they do like this in the air around him. He's not reacting at all. So one of them takes a bow and arrow and he starts firing arrows around his head like that. He doesn't react. And they're getting completely desperate and like, why don't you understand that you should be fearful, that you should fear us, that we are your controllers? And then in the end, one of them takes his sword. Do you know what I can do? I can even do like that. And he turns his sword on himself and stabs himself to death.
Hmm.
And then the other one freaks out and said, "What the hell did you just do?" So he takes a like a lariat, like a rope, and he wants to put it over the head and hang this monk, but instead he puts it over himself and he drags himself into the
Hmm.
water and drowns himself.
Wow.
And so these two have killed themselves. The monk has not moved at all. And then when the both of them are dead, you just see this tiny little smile on his face. And then he opens his eyes, stands up, and he starts dancing around in circles like choof, 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 choof.
Hmm.
Do you
Wow.
see what I'm saying here with, because we're up against incredible force, power
Hmm.
of force in militaries and I mean if you look at the type of weaponry nowadays or just in SWAT teams, or who are we? We have nothing against that. Nothing whatsoever. And yet we do, because they really fear us. That's why they want to keep us in fear mode, so that we don't understand how powerful we are when we don't react.
That makes me think of how we are in the midst of a spiritual war
Yep.
with people that are seeking answers. They're also seeking spiritual answers. Unfortunately, along with that, like we've been talking about, there is an infiltration of different spiritual practices. Right now, I think we're seeing a lot of people that are seeking answers going to Christianity, but this is another thing that has been weaponized in many ways. People are turning to these cult Christians for answers. I think right now people really have to be careful with what they're aligning with spiritually, because there has been weaponization of spiritual practices as well. I even see it in the New Age. I see it in Gnosticism. All of these things have been co-opted to where when people go to try to find the answers, they will find the algorithm sanctioned spiritual guru that will lead them down a path of chaos, basically.
I can only say I personally avoid all isms.
Mm.
It doesn't matter what it is. As soon as it's an ism, then it's a mindset that is controllable. And just like you say, I mean, Christianity, if you take that, it has one book called the Bible. That, okay, fair, that's amazing. But then you look, there's two parts to this book. One, the Old Testament, and two, the New Testament. The New Testament is with this bearded guy called Jesus, who is walking around saying love is, and that's about it. And be love, not a wuss, be love. Amazing when you look at his actions. For me personally, wow, that is a rebel from coming from the right point. As soon as you start following somebody and not take responsibility for yourself, that's where it goes wrong. I think if Jesus came back, he would just say, "Oh my God, what have I been part of creating? Because this is not what I said, you know." But then you got the Old Testament, how they can put these two books together, where it's like multiple gods that are there with death and revenge and rape and plunder and slaughter and like, and then you put the two together and say this is one religion. I mean, no wonder we're confused.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, so I live in Indonesia and Bali. Here they don't have a book. There's no books. but they are incredibly spiritual. It is so impressive and inspiring to see the way they live spirituality, where there's blessings all the time, where there's gratitude all the time, where they do ceremonies all the time, not spiritual ceremonies, but not religious ceremonies, but spiritual ceremonies to lift and empower, lift and empower, lift and empower, and all the time like gratitude for your ancestors, gratitude for iron, gratitude for flowers, gratitude for your friends, gratitude for your scooter, gratitude for your, do you know, like gratitude, 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 gratitude. And it's for me, I mean, the kindness that I hear, it's just beyond. It really is beyond. Of course, there are negative aspects of it as well for the individuals in this whole, but as a whole, it is unbelievably powerful what they're doing. Do you know what they did? Just as an example, after the bombing in Bali, the Bali bombings in 2002 in
Mm.
Kuta, where there were two nightclubs that they blew up here. It was officially three Muslim terrorists that did it. Absolutely not true. Completely manipulated. The ones that went in here was part of the whole after 9/11, the start of war on terror, and what they were trying to do. The same people that behind 9/11 and the war of terror were globally going around getting countries to line up behind them and if you're not if you're not with us, you're against us, you're the terrorist. So any country that was like hesitant to say yes or no, sir, they hit them with different type of terror attacks. In 2002, there was a whole long line of that, and one of them were here in Bali. So I know exactly who carried it out and how it was done. It was overseen by an Israeli operative called Mike Harari. But anyway, so there were all of these people getting killed here, and the reason they did it here for with these nightclubs was that they were the favorites of Australians and New Zealanders, like Kiwis and Aussies. And so by hitting them, they emotionally got Australia and New Zealand engaged in the war of terror in one go. At the same time as they really tried to smash the light here in Bali because it's a light point. And the darkness has always been jealous of the light. You can see that in all the different
Mm.
old tales and so on, the jealousy. So, but here, I mean, hundreds of people were completely massacred here. It was awful, awful, awful. So had this been in the US, you have to ask yourself, how would US deal with a problem like that? It would be bomb the living crap out of that country or anyone that had any knowledge or any bomb them, kill them, shoot them. Here, instead, what they did was they gathered in the thousands. I mean, we weren't here at that time, but it's like we've seen photos and videos of the street in Kuta with thousands and thousands and thousands of people dressed in ceremonial clothes with flowers and stuff, sitting, meditating, asking for forgiveness for having attracted it to Bali, for
Mm.
having attracted these
Wow.
atrocities to Bali. Do you see it? I don't grasp it really, but the different mindset of how to deal with a problem is very interesting
It's
because they
very
took full responsibility instead of trying to hit back. And I think that is what Jesus said also, when he said, turn the other cheek, he doesn't say, be a wuss, pull down your pants and say, I surrender, do whatever you want. He said, don't judge the person. Don't judge the sin, not the sinner, and see beyond them. We all have crosses to carry. We are all in situations. We've all been damaged in different ways. Don't judge them. Take responsibility. In Raj Yoga and the science of the mind, they say, burn tapas. The war should be inside of you. You should purify with fire inside of you. So things that is done to you, take it, swallow it, burn it, purify it, and then be it instead of the first retaliate, the reaction all the time is to hit back or don't you come here and you shouldn't. So the more of us that once again, I'm not saying become a wuss. That is absolutely not what I'm saying. I'm saying stand in your power. Do not let them get to you. Don't let them get, the only way they can get to you is through the mind. They cannot get through you the heart. It's not called heart control. It's called mind control. And they have hijacked a word that I love and I think should be really useful is brainwashing. We should wash our brains, clean them out from all of this crap. We've been in the receiving end of the biggest propaganda machine ever. We are on a daily basis. It's just being pumped at us, and we should go cleanse ourselves, clean it out, brainwash, give it a really good squeeze and rinse, and come back purer and purer and purer.
One of the most effective tools for myself to achieve healing, to be able to work through trauma and be in a better place in my life was to have stillness, to meditate. That's the only way that I was able to stop and look at the things that were causing me problems and trauma in my life. And we have an epidemic of people that are completely unable to sit still for not even 5 minutes. And I think this would be a huge thing if more people would be able to take care of their own trauma, heal their own aspects, because that is when the true change would start to begin. It starts on that individual basis, but it's extremely difficult for anyone to even have a moment of stillness with all the madness going on right now.
Who said it was easy? And this is, once again, I use this word wuss, but we, the souls, according to the native Indians, especially some tribes in the US, they say that we, the souls that are here at this point in time, are the strongest of the strong. We fought our way to get down here at this time because it's an incredible time, absolutely unprecedented in the history of humanity that we are in now, that we fought to get down here with like, I want it, I want it, I want it. And then we come down here and we start whining. That's not it. That's not it. The thing is, this is not easy. If it was easy, we would get bored. Once again, stop whining, start shining, and see, okay, whatever it is, I'm here and I'm here for a reason. I might not understand it. It's just like in a book. You're in one chapter now, you have no idea the ending of the book. Once you get to the ending of the book, you go back and you understand, okay, that chapter was to lead to that thing, to lead to that thing, to lead to that thing. And then it made sense. So don't try and understand what's going on in your life right now. Maybe it takes like 20 years before you get it or whatever. The journey is the thing, because it's like a spiritual boot camp. And we've chosen it like this because we are incredibly powerful souls that are down here and thus also experiencing extreme challenges. The stronger you get spiritually wise, the bigger the challenges, unfortunately. I met this guy just a few weeks ago. He said, yeah, that's why I keep myself spiritually weak. And I thought, fair enough. Because I mean, sometimes I feel like, oh, come on, give me a break. I mean, what the hell? Here, it's like it just keeps adding up and adding up.
Yeah. Well, when I was a kid, I look at things like UFO disclosure, and I would have thought that this time period that we're experiencing now would be so exciting in my life, and I would be so into the UFO disclosure. But the past decade has taught me too much about the sad nature of reality and the disinformation surrounding UFOs and everything that our government has presented to us. And now that our own government and media are telling us that UFOs are real and they're disclosing the evidence, of course, we have to look at the opposite and wonder why they're telling us these things, because their track record of being honest about anything is complete trash. So I have to think that with the information coming out with these UFO files, that it's something that we have to pay attention to, in a sense that we've talked about a fake UFO invasion before. So is this going to be a stronger possibility now? And one more reason to separate ourselves emotionally from some of the things that we used to be attached to, like UFOs and extraterrestrials, because now the government's presenting it to us.
Do you know the word government? Governmente means mind control.
Yeah.
Govern means control. Mente means mind. So that on its own, it's like, why even listen to them? I mean, I don't, never ever do I listen to a politicians. Never ever do I have anything, if I can avoid it, to do with governments because it's sort of like it's rigged. And so they will also play you like this. Like this is the truth, yes, and this is the truth. So your mind just goes like, and then when they can't stop the real truth from coming, suddenly they agree with you. You just have to look at anyone. Um, if you look at uh, psychos and sociopaths, the way they manipulate you is that they play you, and many times that is like, I don't know if you noticed, like they go against your beliefs, and then suddenly when you're in the whole thing, they turn and they agree with you, but without you understanding how it went, suddenly you're completely confused, and then they turn around, and so it's like a ping pong game, bang, 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 bang. In George Orwell's 1984, there's a specific term for saying two truths at the same time. Both of them are true, but they're pointing against each other. This is also why I have this from people that works for Netflix, that they're like they release documentaries of real value. Some of them are like, wow, that
Yeah.
is amazing. That is truth, the way I see it. That is actually true. And then at the same time, they release another documentary that says the exact opposite.
Mm.
That seems to be true for anyone who's not aware of the real truth. And that then neutralizes your brain because the brain doesn't know where to go because we're trying to make it logical to ourselves. It's a special term the CIA uses as well, how to sort of shut down your brain when two truths are being presented, but they are opposite, like a paradox, like this. So that's how they play it. So
Mm.
are UFOs real or not? Okay, they whatever is the truth, and so you've been pushing to find out that truth. Then when they can't stop it anymore, they suddenly play with you and make you confused, and then they go at this at the same time. It's a mind game. We're up against illusionists, we're up against magicians. Do you know, like the handbook for the CIA agents from the 1950s, they refer to CIA agents as magicians. That's the term they use. I'm like, whoa, that is sort of like interesting. And also, when I've been on tour talking about false flag operations and how the setup, how they use it to manipulate our minds and deceive us and stuff, twice people in the audience have come up and said, "My God, when you describe false flag operations and the whole modus of operandi, you described my job." And I said, "So what's your job?" And one said, "I'm an illusionist." The other one said, "I'm a magician."
Mm.
So it's exact, but it's like marketing as well. Just look at normal marketing. How do they get into your mind? You will see it there. It's the same way of getting into your mind. The mind is where they can get to you. The mind is where they can confuse you and control you. So I say, like you said with meditation, what is it you do with meditation? You quiet it down. You say, calm down, calm down, calm down. Most of the time, there's not a lot going on in my head. It's
Mm.
quite empty. And and then hopefully real things will start coming when all of this is not hitting you all the time.
Yeah, you mentioned the magic and mind control and psychological manipulation. Well, there's also levels of theater that's unprecedented. Most of our most powerful global leaders, you could just go ahead and call them actors. And they're playing a role on the global stage to manipulate all of us. when people start to become aware of how manipulated the system is, how deep the rabbit hole goes, essentially, it becomes very difficult when they start to realize that everything they're subjected to a certain degree, has theatrics to it. Even the wars that occur, any high impact event that we've seen on television, it's theatrics. And again, it's another reason to separate yourself from what's you're being presented right now. Now, for the last few minutes, do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to leave the audience with about anything that we've been discussing?
Final thoughts. Can I have a cigarette? It sounded like my last meal or something like that. Um, I have a prayer. I'm not religious, but I have a prayer. And it goes like this. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. That's the entire universe. Peace and joy, love and light. May everyone, and especially the ones who hurt us, especially the ones who hurt us, be filled with peace and joy, love and light. May the light of truth overcome all darkness, so victory to that light. I tell you, Chris, like if you, an LSD trip is tiny, tiny, tiny. You put it on your tongue, reality is gone. It's not there. Yeah. You do a DMT trip or whatever trip. There's so many different natural ways also. You put a little substance in your organism and boom, reality is gone. So how real is it? You have the spectrum of the eyes. We can see about like 1% as I think it's something like that, that 99% of the light spectrum we can't see with our eyes. So it's like, and that we call reality. So that means like the 99% that we don't see is not real just because we can't see it. So the cat that can see in the dark, is that not real? Yeah, but we're limited. The reality is still there. We're limited. So the thing is, for me, I don't know shit. I don't, like my mother before she died, I asked her, so how are you doing? She was studying her whole life and she said, still confused, but on a higher level. So I'm just say bring it back to the heart all the time. The heart knows, in a child, when a child is not, before we mess it up, when it comes to her, it doesn't want to hurt, it doesn't want to kill. It's amazed in an awe of life and things that are alive and beautiful. Go back to that before we got messed up with all of the traumas or whatever. I mean, many of us have a whole library of traumas that we can refer to, which is good because it gives us bigger empathy and understanding for other people going through similar things. But otherwise than that, if it's connected to victimhood, it's like it's a negative. It's like you driving around with a flat tire and even being proud of it. Well, I was an alcoholic or I was what, but it's like we also need to let go and move forward. So yeah, the heart knows, the mind gets confused. So most, I think so many people nowadays are listening to this one, trying to look for the solutions to be given by your brain. The brain is just a processor to generate thoughts. It can generate all kinds of weird, mad thoughts, whatever. Doesn't make them real. But the heart knows. The heart knows what is right to do and what is wrong. You kick a dog, you feel, no, no. And maybe it felt good because you're messed up and you got some anger out. It's still not right. You can feel it, ooh. And many people that goes to drugs and alcohol or whatever abuse they do to themselves is because they've been pushing down this silent voice in their heart for too long. They have been not listening. The heart has been saying for a long time, please listen to me. It's whispering. You need to quiet the mind to hear it because it's a very subtle voice. But once you start listening to that, that's the way to go. And then the more you follow voice of the heart with selfless service, not expecting anything in return, the more beautiful like your life becomes. And then when you start living in beauty, you start inspiring other people like that. And then people start like, instead of like me, I can like blurb out more negative stuff than most people. I mean, whatever you want to know about the dark stuff, I know it. So I could really just bombard you with it. But that just makes people go depressed most of the time, or like, oh God, I have no power, I have nothing. So am I really helping, or am I part of the problem? But once you follow the heart instead, that's a different one. I'm not talking religious. I'm talking live by the heart, live by example. Do not expect any, like padding, like people will say, oh, you're the greatest, whatever. That, because then the ego takes the credit. You have to do, it has to be pure. Once it's pure, that's when you make a real impact, because it comes from you. It's not what you say, it's not what you do, it's who you are. And there's something there when it's true and when it's pure that affects people. And that's where real change happens, I think. So, like Gandhi said, the one you've been waiting for is you. Don't wait for the solution out there. Don't wait for anyone else. You, or I am the one that needs to deal with it. Nobody else can do it. And the thing that you are really scared of, I tell you, if you meet it, it's like a closed door. The only one that can open it is you. But if bypass your fear and open that door, there's this shiny diamond behind it that can be extremely beneficial for you in your life.
Well said. Great note to end on. Ole, before I let you go, remind the audience how they can find more about you.
About me, my website is lightonconspiracies.com or dammegard.com. I'm trying to move away from the lightonconspiracies.com domain name because my sweetheart went through an AI check of the whole thing, and it just came back. That domain is radioactive. That's the
Oh,
name of it. Radioactive. It's been flagged and stopped, and in so many different
oof.
areas. Yeah, it's like unbelievable. So I'm trying to find ways of how to duck and dive. But then I spoke to my webmaster yesterday. I said, can we change the domain? And they said, yeah, but you have to understand, as soon as they understand that it's your information on another website, it will happen again. So I just have
Mm.
to stop whining, start shining, and deal with it.
There you go.
Lightonconspiracies.com or
Excellent.
Dammegard.com. There's more than 1,400 interviews. There's thousands of podcasts and 5,000 articles. There's the world's biggest research vault, as far as I know. It's 8 terabyte of my whole life worth perfectly organized and systemized information about hundreds of thousands of cases, actually. What I'm doing right now is I'm in the process of trying to make this 8 terabyte searchable, so that it can be sort of like with a search engine, so that you can go in
Ah.
and do a search in this, because most of these 8 terabytes, I would say maybe 75% is gone now from the internet.
Mm.
There's this book burning campaign going on digitally, just
Wow.
destroying real evidence. So I'm going to try. Also, now when I'm have a possibility here, what we need some funds to be able to do that, because it's quite pricey to get it working really well. So anyone that would like to support this efforts of preserving this information that I think is vital, because it's our history, please, please, please consider helping me with this thing. And then my dream is that in the long run, once we get this up and running, so that it can be accessed in a perfect, like just like LM Notebook, you can have like a limited area, but you can, with all your files, you can have incredible search things like this and comparing stuff. It's amazing now with AI. So uh, in the end, my dream is that maybe on the other side of this madness, when schools will become real schools and interested in real truth, and so that we can also give this high schools and schools access to like copies of the same thing so that students can educate themselves and so on. So, but we need the basic structure first to set up. So anyone that would like to support me in that, please consider donating whatever you can spare, because it's a tough one. I'm a one-man band with my beautiful sweetheart by my side, but otherwise than that, we are being attacked from all different areas and levels, and like the domain, like said, radioactive, that says a lot, because it's email system, payment gateways, you name it, they just like keep hitting. So it's like an endless, now I'm starting to whine, so I'm going to shut up. But I would very much appreciate support there. So please consider that. And it will go straight into this on another domain and then be accessible to hopefully millions and millions and millions of people.
Amazing. Ole, thank you so much. I'll have those links easily accessible for everyone. And we'll definitely be doing this again. Until next time, everyone, have an excellent evening. We'll talk again tomorrow.
Watch Doors of Perception now on Amazon Prime. Are you and your family prepared for an emergency? Maybe the fake alien invasion? Now is the time to prepare yourself and your family for any event. Check out Prep Starts Now. Their mission is to provide high-quality preparedness products that empower individuals and families to be ready for any situation. They're committed to delivering reliable, trusted gear to ensure your safety, security, and peace of mind in times of need. Their product selection is carefully curated to provide you with the essential gear you need to stay prepared. From emergency kits to tactical tools, every item is chosen for its reliability and practicality. Prep Starts Now understands the importance of family, and their goal is to equip you with everything you need to build a solid plan for your family's preparedness. In today's ever-changing world, being prepared is more important than ever, and Prep Starts Now is here to help you and your family stay ready with quality products and practical guidance. Use the link in the description and get 15% off your order. We live in an incredible age of information. More and more, we're discovering that we've been lied to and misled about much of our human history. Cory Hughes is providing profound revelations about World War I, World War II, the JFK assassination, Martin Luther King's assassination, and much, much more on his new Substack, Bloody History. Subscribe now for as little as $5 monthly. Just click that link right in the description to get started now and learn about our true history. Hello, friends. If you're looking to start your therapeutic microdosing journey, but don't know where to start, especially when looking for the highest quality ingredients, including nootropics, and what you'd expect from a true microdose capsule, check out our friends at Brainsupreme. They offer the absolute highest quality ingredients so you can start your microdosing journey, knowing that you're getting top-notch ingredients. To find out more, visit their website using that link right in the description, and you can get 15% off your entire order.